What's up, guys? It's been a minute since I did a video, and I'm feeling very inspired and motivated to share some personal things with you about my life and about my experiences and about my growth as I sit here reflecting. And if you're new to the channel, you may not know anything about me, which is totally understandable, but you might be able to draw some inspiration from this story. And so the story will start back about 10 years ago in Florida, where I grew up. I was born and raised, and I was working in politics, and I thought that I wanted to have a career in politics, and I thought that I wanted to finish school, and I thought I wanted to do a lot of things, but ultimately, deep down on the inside, I had a passion, and I wasn't sure exactly what that passion was. And at the time, being young, I latched on to the thing that I was passionate most about, which was music. And so I put a lot of energy and effort and all of my eggs into that basket. And as my 20s would move on, I found myself getting closer to the dream, but feeling further away from the dream at the same time. And so while I ended up not working in politics later in my 20s and not living in Florida and moving out of state, I found myself spending more time in the studio, making more instrumentals, making more songs, and just overall learning more things about music that I thought were pushing me closer towards my goals and towards my dreams of being a star and making music and, changing people's lives through my words. And for the longest time, I felt like nobody could hear me and nobody wanted to watch or listen, and that I just didn't have the thing that I needed to make it happen. And I would often look around and see other people that were either the same age as me or friends or different people I would meet along the way, that they seemed like they were just so further ahead, or that they were much more committed, or that they had it figured out, and I was more or less on day one, like a rookie trying to figure it out. And so naturally I would look up to a lot of people in the arts because it felt like they knew how to, do things better than me, or they just had a lot more experience. And I would extend myself and overextend myself and try to help people out that never really saw anything in me, and maybe they would entertain me because I was friendly and I was nice, but it wasn't like they were really wanting to do anything with me. And looking back on it, I remember thinking like, oh, so-and-so, I'm going to try and, get good enough to where that person wants to work with me. And it was people that I looked up to. And so I spent a lot of years hanging out with the wrong people and surrounding myself with the wrong people, and just overall being exposed to different environments that weren't productive for me or for my goals, and that didn't push me forward. And so there was a lot of built up tension, a lot of built up anxiety and passive aggressiveness that I had harbored for the years, from a lack of success and a lack of what I felt like was a lack of growth, because a lot of times when you're just starting off, it's hard to see the growth early on. And so I spent years doing anything I could just to get by, just to be able to try and chase my dreams. And I never knew where I would end up or when I would get a break, or I didn't know a lot of things, but I had faith and I had this conviction that I was going to make it. I was going to do something with my life, and there's nothing that anyone could tell me otherwise. And that if I died, that at least I would die trying to do that thing. And that's how I would get through the tough days when I felt like I had nothing, and when I felt like no one wanted to work with me, and when I felt like I had all the answers, but no one wanted to listen. And at some point in time, going through enough hardship and struggle and making a lot of mistakes, I was left with really no other option besides to dig really deep. And that is where I started getting in the routine of praying and saying prayers. And I had prayed my whole life. I grew up thankful that I was in a family that taught me prayer and that taught me about God and Jesus and faith and all of those things that I'm not going to necessarily try and push you in any direction right now. This is more just to talk to you about my process, and those things are personal to me, and if they're personal to you as well, then that's awesome. But yeah, I did not start seeing my life turn around until I started praying. And I remember feeling good after praying, whether it be shortly after or days after, something I could pray about. And then things would make me feel better. Just thinking the prayer, saying the prayer. And it took a long time, guys, but then I would say probably about 3 to 5 years ago, somewhere in that range, I started seeing the signs. And I'm telling you right now that the signs are always there. It's just, are you in a state of reception? Are you in a state of are you in a state of receptiveness? Are you able to receive the message right now? And for all the years that I spent trying to please other masters and trying to overextend myself, I wasn't disciplined with prayer, and I wasn't utilizing prayer in all of its potential. And so at some point in time in the last few years, I started noticing the signs, and I started picking up on the signs. And a sign could be something as simple as someone tells you a really, really unique word that you never heard of, and the next day that word pops up. Or maybe it's you're distracted and you're busy, and then you look up and there's a number. And then for some reason it just sticks in your mind. And then sure enough, that same number pops up later. And so I saw a pattern that after I started praying, I felt more connectivity with where I was at. And instead of me thinking that, I was so far away from my goals, it felt like I was, when I would see these signs, I was at the right point at the exact time that I was supposed to be there, the right place at the right time. And so these signs became reassuring to me that, hey, like, God is talking to me. I know that this is not a coincidence, because these two things don't just happen one after the other that are the same thing. And so I'm kind of not giving you the greatest example. I think I tried with the number thing, but when I started praying often, I wasn't as disciplined with it, and I still saw results because I was still putting that energy out there and putting the prayer out there. But maybe I would go far in between my last prayer from my next prayer and still see some signs and still see some growth and progress. But once I realized that the signs have always been there and that I just wasn't praying enough, that I should start praying more often. Within the last 2 to 3 years, I made it a decision that I need to pray when I wake up in the morning, and I need to say my grace to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and I need to do it as well before I go to sleep. And then that way it starts my day off correct, and then that way I go to sleep on the right foot, on the right note, on the right side of the bed. And so this message is for anyone that is currently going through it, that maybe you're feeling lost, maybe you're feeling like you're not good enough, that you're never going to get a break. My solution to you is to consider prayer. Consider praying, and without any sort of bias, without any sort of direction, if you don't have any, if you need to just figure out who you're going to pray to on your own terms, that's your choice. But for me, I pray to Jesus Christ, and I have found that since I made the commitment to prayer and I practiced prayer, that my life started changing for the better almost immediately. Now it feels immediate. It didn't feel that way always at first, but I started noticing a sign and a pattern, and I just kept leaning into it. And so here I am today, about to be 33 years old in a few days, and I'm so much closer to my goals than I could have ever imagined, to the point of where I didn't see any of this happening. I didn't know how it was going to happen. Like, everyone sees the end goal, the finish line. You know what that looks like, but man, the in between is something special, and it's something that I don't ever want to forget, that I don't ever want to take for granted. And I got here from prayer. Prayer helped me get over addiction, drugs, alcohol, destructive tendencies, being around the wrong people. And through prayer, I noticed that over time, I went on this isolation streak where I had to be alone and I had to distance myself from everyone else. And it wasn't that they didn't pray, I prayed. No, it was just that by me praying, I started seeing the people that were around me were not going to be the people that would push me forward. And so I practice prayer. I'm telling you right now that if you have a dream and if you have conviction and you have faith in what you believe in, that you have to pray, and that you have to pray for anything that you need, anything that you want, and your life will instantly feel better. And over time, that if you practice prayer, you will see things happen that you never believed would happen in your life. And so I'm getting a little around the point, past the point, coming back to the point. This is just a one-shot freestyle from the heart. I got to give it to you raw with no edits, so bear with me. But as I sit here, about to turn 33 years old, it's been almost 7 years since I left Florida. And when I left Florida, that was the biggest leap of faith I ever took in my life. And I wasn't sure exactly how it was going to pan out, but I went for it. I left everything I knew, my family, my friends, the resources and connections that I had built up over the years, all to go to Colorado, where I basically knew nobody and I had no opportunity that was past just a regular job. And after being there for 6 years, I still had that feeling the entire time I was there, that I was destined for something bigger than what I was doing, and that I could never not believe that. And so for many years, I kind of just went through the motions and was ignoring, the signs. And towards the end of me living in Colorado is when I started to notice the signs. And then before I left Colorado is when I became better at prayer. And then I came to California. And since I've been to California towards the end of 2023, it's been an insane ride. And the same way I took a leap of faith to go from Florida to Colorado, I had to do the same thing to get to California. And it's a leap of faith. You don't know what's going to happen. You leave all your friends and connections that you built up, your jobs, careers, anything that you got, and you're going into the unknown again. And this time around, I was more prepared through prayer. And from when I got to California to where I'm at right now today, in less than 2 years, I would not have ever imagined that I would be where I'm at today. Even though I feel like I could be so much farther, and I'm going to go so much farther, I would have been happy if I had gotten half this far in the amount of time that I did since I got here. And something that really helped me along the way, guys, was being alone and finding peace with certain things that I dealt with, trying to overcome certain pain and past traumas and just experiences that were hard to shake. And I found that by praying, it ultimately isolated me from a lot of people that weren't right for me. And at the time, I just didn't understand that. I just thought that, life is changing and things change. But no, God had a plan in motion for me, that he wanted me to have separation from all these people that weren't helping me, that weren't pushing me forward, that didn't see the vision. And through prayer, I ended up here, and I ended up in this position today where I've reached a lot of cool milestones and goals and achievements and things like that. But the most important thing is that on a day like today, I met someone not too long ago, within the last 4 or 5 months that was a special person, that I felt like, wow, this is a motivated individual, driven individual, highly talented, creative individual. And I would have never met that person had I not prayed and had God not had a plan in motion for me, that through prayer I was able to see through and to get to this point. And that same person that I met, that I was super impressed by, that I was basically in awe of, when I met on a day like today, I can confirm that that person is a blessing from God. All right. And I'm not sure if this is making as much sense as it is in my head back to you, so please bear with me. But I met someone who I can say now in all my life is probably single-handedly the most inspirational person I've ever met, and is the closest thing that I've met in today's generation that is just a person and a man of God, who is a leader, who is inspirational, who is driven, who has all of these things going. It doesn't matter what that person thinks of themselves or what mistakes they've made. What matters is that I've seen a lot of people. I've met so many people in my life in all different walks of life. But when you meet someone that is truly special, it's just, if you're in a state of receptiveness, you see it differently. And so I'm sitting here today beside myself because I can't help but think of all the people that I had to let go, that I had to leave behind, that it was really hard to do that, just to be able to be in a position to meet this special person who's changing my life. And not in a sense of this person is giving me a job or a deal or something like that, just in a sense of, wow, I met someone that is so, like, I can't even find the words, man. It's crazy. Just truly special. And now I'm trying to wrap this all around. I thought writing it would be easier until I couldn't find the words to write it. And now speaking it out, I feel like I'm stumbling over my words. But the point is that practice your prayers. You have to believe what you want to be true. And if you have conviction, if you have faith, you will be able to get through anything that you're going through right now in life. It's not going to break you, it's going to make you. There are no shortcuts. There is no finish line. It's everything that's in between. It's from the start to the end, everything that's in between is the bulk of it. And so when I realized that, I started having more appreciation. And now I'm proud to say that I'm in a good spot today where I'm setting myself up for future success, and I feel great, and I feel like I'm finally surrounded by the right people. And I think that that's what I wanted to get out most importantly, is that God has surrounded me and he has blessed me with the people that I need when I needed them most. And the veil has been lifted off my eyes, and I'm seeing new horizons, and I'm seeing new greatness and new potential that I haven't felt this way, where I'm truly inspired by people, since I was in my early 20s and starting my career in politics. And so having said that, guys, I'm going to cut the video and let you know, say a prayer. If you're watching this, it's for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. You never make mistakes, you just learn lessons. You know, you never make mistakes, you just learn lessons. And if you have a dream, chase it, say your prayers, get consistent, practice prayer, work on, as soon as I wake up, before I do anything, I'm going to just say a quick prayer. And then before I go to bed, I'm going to say a quick prayer. And over time, you keep doing that, you'll realize that, wow, there's so many more opportunities in the day to say prayers. And it doesn't take that long. It's just a small moment of your time where you silence everything and you tune everything out, and you share your prayer. And so nowadays I pray a lot more than when I started, and I'm more consistent, and there will be times where I find myself, maybe I haven't prayed in 30 hours. That's a long time. I better say a prayer right now. But I don't ever stray too far away from the prayer. And that is the moral of the story. While me giving you some small history of my life in the last 10 years, my progress, I have so much more I want to tell you. But I got to find the right words to say it, the right setting, and how to say it. And so I'm working on that. Maybe it'll be through music. Maybe it'll be through this. Maybe it'll be through writing. Maybe it'll be through film. I don't know. But the future's bright. The sky's the limit. I'm in the best place I've ever been in my life. I owe it all to God and to prayer. And this is your sign to pray. It's going to all be all right. And pretty soon I'll post the videos of the hike from Mexico to San Francisco. It's 40 days. It's like 10 hours worth of videos that I'm going to edit. And I'm about to go down south and stay at my buddy's for a month, lock in, edit the videos. And yeah, I'm sure in that time of me being there, that I'll have a lot more to share with you guys as well. And maybe I'll be able to find the right words to articulate this message. But I hope it helped you anyways, because it came from the heart, and we're not going to edit it. So enjoy. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I will be posting a lot more stuff soon. Thanks.